All right, peoples. So what? Shut up. Stop. Thomas showed me a meme just before this, so he's trying to contain himself. But, so this is the second installment of Music and Movie Monday. I can't remember if I ordered that. Do you remember? Is it Music and Movie or Movie and Music?
Music and movie, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. If not, you guys.
I think you actually said Music Movie Monday.
Let's check the tape really quickly. Clearly, we're prepared. So
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, I checked it earlier today. Our first installment of this new segment, Music and Movies Mondays.
Okay.
Our first installment of it actually did pretty well. We have 25 views, and our last official episode has 14. So I guess people kind of like hearing our opinion of music and movies. Well, it's funny too because when I was talking to Alyssa earlier, so last week's Everything Everywhere All at Once was our friend Alyssa's suggestion. And I was on the phone with her earlier today, and she said she hasn't watched that episode or listened to that installment.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say she hasn't watched a movie. I was like, why would she suggest it?
She hasn't listened to our review of it.
Gotcha.
Which I thought was hilarious because I was like, well, if there were any episode for you to pay attention to, it would be that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this week we did an album instead of a movie. I think that's probably what the format's going to be. We're just going to alternate.
Be back and forth, yeah.
So this week we reviewed SOS by SZA, and this was suggested by Allie, who, funny enough, this is just going to be the week of Allie because she's our Wednesday guest episode. So we actually did a randomizer. Thomas was with me in the car when we did the randomizer, and it just so happened it narrowly, the little pin to point to the name, just barely went over.
Well, the album before I listened to a little bit of it and I liked it, so I was clapping prematurely, and I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna listen to it."
And I knew it was gonna land on SOS, and I was like, "Bruh," because Allie, she told us to listen to it I think the day after, whatever I made the post, and then it narrowly, Lucy can maybe have a good laugh at this, just narrowly went over Ty Verde's.
Literally, it was
TV.
A little sliver.
And just at the end, it went up.
And my face dropped. Cole was laughing at me. I was like, "Bruh, are you kidding me?"
Well, so the good news is all of the suggestions that we've had so far, there's not one that I'm just dreading listening to.
Well, the reason why, I like this album. The reason why I didn't want to listen to this album is because it's an hour long.
Well, the Ty Verde's album is pretty long too. I
thought it was shorter.
I can't remember if it was that or because I looked at that in Channel Orange. I think Channel Orange is an hour and a half or something. Yeah,
I think Ty's is shorter, so that's why I was looking forward to Ty because that one I can give my whole attention to, and it's a shorter album. I can listen to it. This is an hour long. I can't even tell you all the names of this album. I don't think I remember some of the songs from the album, if I'm being honest, because we were also on the way to the cookout, so some of the songs was just playing as I was driving.
I don't want to diminish because we definitely did pay attention, and we have our critiques and thoughts on it. But okay, also though, to be fair, the Ty Verde's album's 10 minutes shorter than this album. Yeah, so it's not that big of a difference.
How many songs is in that album?
Because this album, it was 23 songs on this album, and it's an hour and just under 10 minutes. Yeah. And then the Ty Verde's one is, well, which one are you looking at, TV or HD TV?
Just TV.
TV is a lot shorter actually, so it's only 37 minutes.
Bro,
and it's
HDTV
1, 2,
is
3, 4,
the premium
6,
album.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's 13 songs for. Oh wait, it literally tells you. Why am I counting? Copyright! Stop it. Okay. Anyway, that's not the album that we're reviewing today. We're doing SZA. So
that literally has 10 more songs.
So I can't wait to hear.
No, you go first.
What you have to say about
you go
it.
First.
Obviously, or not obviously, but I'll go first. But when we were listening to the album, Thomas made some faces, so I can't wait to hear what he has to say about it. Just off the bat, I'll say there wasn't a song on, obviously on through my speaking through it, you can like interject. But like, there wasn't a song that I disliked really. Like it was kind of. We can say that for years, I guess, because he just made another face. But I like there wasn't really a song that I was just kind of like, that was bad, because I've heard. So I think honestly, my first introduction to SZA was either Staring at the Sun by Post Malone, or what Doja Cat song is she a feature on?
But I don't know. I don't listen to Doja Cat or SZA, so I don't know.
Kiss Me More. She's on Doja's Kiss Me More, and I really like that song and her feature on it. And then she was also in All the Stars with Kendrick Lamar, the Black Panther song.
Yeah.
Is that what it's titled?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I've heard her in a couple features, but I've never actually listened to her standalone music before. But I really like her. She's got a really good flow. That was my big thing with the album. Her voice in general, and just kind of like her flow with the beats and everything, I'm just kind of a fan of in general. Mm-hmm. So I think that kind of helped when we were listening to the album, because it was a very easy listen, I guess. There were a couple songs that I'll get to on like these notes that I have that were like a little bit out of the ordinary, but like for the most part, it was a very safe album. Like there wasn't anything super different, I feel like, than what
most of the songs sounded pretty similar in my opinion. Not all songs, like some of, like a good majority had like the same vibe, the same rhythm, the same like mixture of beats, which is really good. And then there's some songs that they're just out there, and I'm just like, what? Because there was one song that we played and you were like, rock, and I was like,
well, I have that one on here that we can talk about. But yeah, like when I gave Fallon the Harbor album and like I got her critique of it, she was like, yeah, they just kind of sound the same. Which, like, she's not wrong, but when I was listening to this, I was like, the only really like bad thing, I guess, to me was that like a lot of them do sound pretty similar to each other.
Well, like I agree, but like this SZA has like a good, in my opinion, like a good variety range, because she takes what she's good at and like rolls with it, but then she like plays with other varieties and like other spectrums of like music. Because like I said, there's that song that like the rock one. Yeah, that was really good.
Well, kind of going, bless you, kind of going like with her variety. The thing that I like about her too is that like, so I actually looked it up before we started listening to it, because I wasn't 100% sure, but she's classified as kind of like a soul and R&B. I knew the R&B part, but I didn't know like the soul kind of aspect of it.
Soul is like described as in music. I generally don't.
I mean, I feel like it and this is just an uninformed answer, but I feel like it and R&B are like kind of similar. Like it's the more like that style of music.
What's it?
Soul.
Oh,
I feel like soul and R&B are kind of like more like some like slower melody.
Yeah.
But the thing I liked about her, honestly, and that was kind of like a thing throughout this album, was that she would go songs of like doing that kind of like the soul kind of, and then she would actually like demonstrate her vocals, because she is a really good singer.
That's what I'm saying. She has really good singing, and then some of the songs I was singing along to, because you can I don't know if you notice this, but like the way she says certain words like just rolls in like this. Was it the next couple songs? Like for example, which one was it when she says like you, and that was like in another song as well. You.
I'm not 100% sure, but I remember at the beginning of, what was it? I gotta pull it up. Because this is when we were in the car, but the beginning of Seek and Destroy, like that first like 5 seconds, I thought was like pretty cool, because she kind of did the you better calm yourself. But she did kind of like a vocal test, I guess, for herself. So I really like that.
Okay.
But anyway, getting into like the actual notes of how I felt about it. So the first, like, I think my top 5. Well, okay. So I went through. There's 23 songs on the album. I went through and just kind of like noted which ones stood out to me or which I kind of enjoyed more. So the top 2 for me, outside of the top 2, maybe outside of the top 3, it's not in any specific order, but these were just kind of songs that, like I said, just stood out to me a little bit more. So for me, at least, 1 and 2 just aren't debatable. So Kill Bill and Snooze are like easily my favorite albums
Fair
or
enough.
albums, records on the album. Kill Bill has literally like been stuck in my head at work for the past like month. So to actually listen to the album, I thought was pretty funny. And then Snooze, I actually heard for the first time recently, like before we went on the mountain trip, and we listened to it a little bit while we were up there. And I am a big fan of that song. But song Special, I really enjoyed because I think not only did it have a really good message, but I even said to Thomas as we were listening to it, I bet live that that's like a really good song to listen to. But outside of the top 3, again, in no particular order, Love Language, Far, Notice Me, Nobody Gets Me, and Conceited, I think were some of my favorites.
Okay.
But getting to the actual kind of notes themselves. So 2 things. So the thing that you kind of brought up, which I do enjoy, was even though for the most part the songs sound the same, she changed up the speed and kind of like the tempo, I guess, of the song. So I wrote down that Blind and SOS, which SOS is the album song, but it's also the first song. They're like kind of slower because for her lyrics, she goes very fast. So like some artists, they'll speak a lot and then maybe like let the music play, but in her music, at least from what I've noticed on this album, there's very few moments where you just hear the music. Like for the most part, she's singing behind it.
Yeah, that's like a good and bad thing depending on like how you listen to it. Because personally, for me, that's not good for me because I cannot keep up with like people speaking lyrics.
Yeah.
So like I have a hard time like understanding what she's saying. So that's why I was like looking at the lyrics as we were listening to it. Because if I'm being honest, like when we were driving and listening to the car, I did not get a single word. I did not get a single word from any of the songs just because they're so fast.
Yeah.
And like they all like mesh together. And my hard of hearing anyways does not help with that. So.
Well, I also think too, maybe just like the way it sounds in the car for some of these songs, you just might not be able to hear it as well.
Yeah,
Because I
that's
feel
what
like
I'm
when we
saying.
were listening on Alexa, it sounded a lot more clear.
Yeah.
But we also, the other thing that we did was we didn't look at the lyrics for the first couple songs, and then after, Tom was like, oh, we should pull up the lyrics and actually like look at them, which I guess maybe in an ideal world we could just listen to the whole album first and then go back and look at the lyrics, but that's like 2 hours.
That's
so,
only 2 hours.
and we're pressed for time. Shocker for everybody.
Well, yeah, it's also almost 1 a.m. So.
But the other thing, so one thing that kind of stood out to me a little bit. So there were 3 songs that had features to them.
I think it was 2.
She had Don Toliver, Phoebe
Oh,
Bridges,
Don Toliver.
Travis Scott, and Old Dirty Bastard. So 4. But the one thing that kind of stood out to me a little bit was like before we got, so the Don Toliver song was the first, which was called Used, which was the first song on the album that had a feature, if you're listening to it in like order. I really want them to make an album together. Like, I don't know if you actively listen to Don Toliver like that.
No, I don't.
But their flow is like pretty similar to each other. Like he talks pretty quickly, but also he's just a very like.
I remember because I don't remember like the song that well because once again I only listened to it once and it was in the car. But I remember when we were in the car, you were talking like one of the lyrics or like parts of the song in SZA sounded similar to like Don Toliver's.
Yeah, so there's a part in the Don Toliver song where if anybody has heard, I think it's called "What You Need" by Don Toliver. There's a part where SZA's melody sounds a lot like one piece of that song, which I thought was actually pretty cool. I could be getting that completely wrong, but I'm still learning about music. So, but there was one point in specific where I was like, oh wow, that actually sounds a lot like Don's music. But I think the thing that's a good kind of testament to the two of them is that Don and SZA both, like, for their features that I've heard for other artists, like Travis Scott had Don featured. I know him and Justin Bieber have a song together, I think. Like, they haven't had a feature I was like, ew, like when I listened to them. So that's why I kind of think they would have a similar. This is probably overstepping a little bit because before I heard about this collaboration, I would have never expected it. But like Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. Like I feel like I know that's speaking because that An Evening with Silk Sonic is a really good album. Like whoever thought that they should come together, like if it was just between the two of them, they did really well. Because
Yeah.
stylistically speaking, they mesh really well with each other.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying like,
Are you comparing just like how they
just
mesh?
by like style?
Like how they mesh stylely?
Yeah,
That's
like
it?
I would have to
Okay.
hear an album like with the two of
Oh,
them.
I thought you were about to say like, oh, they are like comparatively like equally as good, if not better. I was like, whoa.
Well, of the collaborations heard recently, they're definitely my favorite because I know a lot of people were talking about like 21 and Drake, but like her loss had its own issues that some people talk about. But
21 and Drake, the only collab I can remember is 21. Hey, dude.
yeah, and the meme that became. But I don't know if anybody would agree with me on that, but I think stylistically, Dawn and SZA are like pretty similar. So
see
I
that.
actually wouldn't mind hearing an album from the both of them
I
together.
can see that.
The next note that I had was Gone Girl. The song Gone Girl had some of my favorite lyrics in it. Let me go back and, with my volume down so we don't get in trouble, I can try and see. Cause I think there was like one or two lyrics in specific that kind of spoke to me a little bit, if you will.
Spoke to the soul to save your soul.
Well, like, so some of it was like, I need more space and security. I need less voices, just you and me. I need your touch, not your scrutiny. Squeezing too tight, boy, you're losing me. So I thought that was a pretty good verse.
Bars, okay.
And then like we can get in deeper to it, like when we get to your criticism, or not criticism, but like what your, I guess, review or take on the album.
Uh-huh.
So before I continue on my notes, I think the name SOS for the album was very fitting
Yeah, I agree.
because in a lot of the songs, which Thomas is I'm just gonna put my mic down probably and just like let you speak, and I'll like butt in every so often. But I think SOS fits really well because at least, and this is why music is so cool because it's based off your own interpretation, really, unless you're just way off the mark, which I feel like this isn't really, if you know where I'm going with this. But like the reason I feel like SOS fits is because, so for the Harbor album, we talked about how the whole thing was basically just a contradiction, and I brought up that this album I feel like had similar values to that, but you brought up the good point of like, but they know it's a contradiction. And I'm not saying that SZA in these lyrics, she doesn't know it's a contradiction either, but it's just like a lot of the lyrics revolve around like, which I think is actually kind of cool. It's like, I hate how you made me feel, like I changed myself, or like I lost a part of myself to love you, or something like that. And then in the next lyric, it'll be like, but I want you in my bed tonight, or something like that. So it's
Yeah.
like, you'll be hit with like a really powerful and deep lyric.
You're just
about,
like taking Mac for a second.
yeah, it's like it'll say something about like I lost myself,
Become
but like I
funky.
want to. Yeah. So it's kind of like that's kind of weird. It's like I hate how you made me feel, but I need you to heal, or something like that.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. With that, yo, well, that was kind of bars.
Bars?
Yo, okay.
get me in the booth. But yeah, so like that was kind of a theme throughout the album, which again I'll let you cook here in a second and talk about that.
Yeah, I got you.
But like, I just thought that was funny. Like when we were listening to it, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
That was kind of the duality of the lyrics. But so Gone Girl had some of my favorite lyrics. I think Smoking on My X Pack was like the first song that just completely changed.
Shit, sorry.
I think Smoking on My X Pack was the first song that just was a complete style change, at least, because that was a lot more rap than it was kind of like R&B or soul.
Yeah, I agree.
So like when I was listening to that, I was like, okay, and I was going along with it, and I actually, that's like what we were talking about. I like the range that she just kind of has as an artist, because she can go from like R&B and a lot of like, man, I want to cry right now, because Allie's classification of it, which is true, is that it's like hot girl music. So
Is that what she said?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Well, because I gave her aux in my car one day, and she started playing this, and like again, I don't hate SZA, so I was like, all right, like we'll listen to it. She's like, yeah, I'm on my hot girl phase. It was like Rihanna, SZA,
She
like
said that? What the
Doja.
hell?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of like different artists, but I do appreciate kind of like the range that she has, going from like soul to rap, and then one of the next songs I'll get to in a second. So Smoking on My X Pack was more of a rap song, which I thought was kind of cool. Ghost in the Machine, which was the feature with Phoebe, what was her name?
Bridgers.
Yeah, Phoebe Bridgers. I will say too, Don Toliver was the only good feature
I agree.
in my opinion.
I
Like Old
fully
Dirty
agree.
Old Dirty Bastard was probably second for me, and some people might be like, "What? Travis was on here." I'll get to that in a second. But I think that Don was probably my favorite, and then Old Dirty Bastard was probably second. But yeah, I don't know who Phoebe Bridgers is. I don't know if just her part in the song was kind of like weird to me. I just wasn't really a fan of it personally. But that song had a really cool, meaningful lyric to me, which said, "Everybody want to be beautiful, scared of the unusual,"
I did.
which
remember that.
I thought was actually a pretty interesting message about how I was just talking about like, which was the other thing too about like, so Ali talked about it being hot girl music, but there wasn't a whole lot of, at least in this album, there wasn't a whole lot of like I was trying to phrase it without using profanity, but like I guess that's kind of hard just because of the artist that
dude,
she is.
Just rip it
But
with the Band-Aid.
at least in my opinion, there wasn't a whole lot of like fuck me good tonight. Like there was, but it wasn't in like a WAP way, like a Cardi B kind of Megan Thee Stallion. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, you mean like as vulgar as them? Is that what you mean?
Kind of, but it was more like she's sending the message of like, I hate how you treated me and how I lost myself in the process. But there isn't a whole lot of like, look at my titties and my ass. Like there wasn't a whole lot of that.
You mean that's what I meant, like the vulgarity of like how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as vulgar.
like the
Like,
explicitness and the vulgarity and
is vulgarity a word?
I don't know. I just made that shit up.
Okay.
Anyways, but like how vulgar it is and how explicit it was and
Yeah.
how detailed it was versus
Yeah.
like this is just like, come fuck me, and I'm just like, but you just said you hated me.
But yeah, so like there's messages of like of that, but it's more like I need you on me tonight and like stuff like that. But it's
Yeah.
not really like a oh how it feel when it in me kind of because if we were listening to an album like that, I probably would have cut it off to be
But I would have
honest.
stopped.
Because like even and that's not even just like a female thing. For like when I hear that in lyrics, when dudes talk about that too, it's like okay, you can only talk about penis for so much in
yeah.
a song before you're just like okay. But there's definitely a lot of bro. You got
Let me just turn on the music.
chill out.
I'm just trying to look through the lyrics. That's why.
Yeah, there's a definitely a lot of that of the kind of I think she does send a good message about like in a couple of the songs she talks about just kind of be your best self and don't
Yeah.
really like change who you are.
Yeah.
But then again, what we were talking about, it's like don't change who you are, but like I want you, so I'm gonna change. And it's like okay, it's kind of weird. But again,
Yeah.
I'll let you cook about that part. But yeah, everybody want to be beautiful, scared of the unusual. I thought was a really good lyric in Ghost in the Machine. F2F was the next song that had just a complete style shift. That was like the rock song where like the guitar came out and we were both like what the, because that falls more in line with Harbor, like our style I guess recently that we've been listening to. So I really like that song.
yeah.
And kind of like the rock vibe it had to it. And then Special, which I was talking about earlier, Special was top 3 for me. It has a really good message. She talks about kind of like self-image and like doubting yourself, and like body image and stuff like that. And like, I can't remember if it was in Special, but there was one lyric that talked about like she bought a new body or something like that. Like there's a lot of that theme throughout the album.
Kind of. Yeah. I see that.
But Special, honestly, I wouldn't mind hearing live if given the opportunity, because I think that would be like a really good song. But yeah, that song I think was definitely one of the more like impactful ones where you just kind of sit there and you really like think about the lyrics for a second.
Yeah, it's one of the shorter songs too.
Yeah, it's like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And like one of the lyrics it says, I'm looking at it right now, it says, like I was an art piece, like I was an ordinary girl, I wish I was special. I gave all my special away to a loser. It's like talking for this guy that she did a lot for, which also kind of you can think about it, experiences that even we've been through recently. You can talk about in the process of liking somebody, sometimes you lose yourself and then you realize that you should be with somebody that makes you feel like you and that you don't have to really change a lot
Yeah,
for.
because the next lyric says, "Now I'm just a loser."
Yeah, I used to be special, but you made me hate me, regret that I changed me. So like that song honestly kind of like speaks to me a lot,
Yeah, that's
and
what I'm
I
saying.
really
Yeah,
like
I
that
like that.
song. So yeah, so that definitely puts or solidifies rather special is probably like a top 3 song for me. And then the last note that I had was Self Esteem, which was the song with Travis Scott. I like the song, but his feature was just like not good in my opinion. Because I don't know if Travis does more like R&B soul kind of
I highly doubt it. I
songs
don't
on
think
his
so.
albums or like other features that he does. Because most of the features that I hear him sticks with his like rap or like trap route. But like yeah, like it's lit. But like when he started going like girl, you made me feel sometimes. I was like, what is this? Like I looked.
Arms, you give me your pins.
Yeah, I like looked back at you and I was like, this is not. You
But-
said to me, you're like, this is not Travis.
Yeah, and then did you not hear me say, man, there's some auto-tuned shit up in
Oh
this
yeah,
bitch.
there was one. I mean, like he's known for that, but there was one point in specific during that song, or
But
yeah,
I thought it
during
was
that
a
song,
robot speaking at one point.
where it was like, and I was like, what is that?
Well, I literally was like, yo, what in the robot, what in the R2D2 shit is this, bro?
Bro, and then it reminded me, like, you know that clip where he like fell off stage and it was still auto tuned. Like, yeah, it reminded me of that. But yeah, that was pretty much all the notes that I had, or at least stuff that like specifically I wanted to make a comment on.
How would you rate it? A 1 out of 10.
Do you want to do that now or both of us at the end when we both said our stuff about it?
I guess we can do it at the end. That's up to you.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. So go ahead, my boy. What are your thoughts?
So now that I'm thinking about on like what you said, especially with the album name. The album name is SOS, which stands for Save Our Souls, which is why I asked you earlier because I forgot what SOS stands for. And like, if you really think about it, what people use SOS for, people say that in terms of like they're lost, they're in trouble, they need help.
Oh,
Like,
wait, well, I just looked it up. So SOS actually stands for Save Our Ship, which, like, in the past I've known it to mean Save Our Soul, which, like, I guess.
well, like I think it's like it can be interchangeable because
Oh,
most
yeah,
of-
it stands for, like, a couple different things.
yeah, I think it's interchangeable because Save Our Ships usually means like your ship broke down on an island and you can't leave. That's usually what it means.
Now, actually, that I looked it up, that kind of makes me think about it a little bit more.
That's what I'm saying. I was thinking about it because that's why I asked you. Because
Yeah.
if you think about it, Save Our Souls usually means whenever you're write that message, you're stranded on an island, you are going through different emotions, you're going through different feelings, and like you think you're okay, but you 1 minute and the next minute you feel like you're not okay, and then like the next day you might be like, okay, this is manageable, I can live through this, and then like 2 hours later you're like, I can't do this anymore, type stuff, like, because like you're in a dire situation, and like I think that's how honestly this album embodies, which is pretty good, honestly. So like there isn't like I'm not gonna criticize it very hard because once again I'm not a like SZA listener,
Yeah.
so I don't really know how she does her albums and stuff like that. But I will say like each song has their own message. I will say that. And I feel like that's how most songs should be. But most of the time I feel like all of the songs in an album should usually have like one message or like have two messages saying like you can do this or this, kind of like Harbor, like they had a contradiction, or a message of like relationship, be yourself, or fuck men type stuff.
Yeah.
This album just had a bunch of shit that I was kind of like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like there's one song saying for let me pull up. There's like one song that I was like, oh, this is a really good song. Like, I agree, blah, blah, blah. For example, actually, Open Arms. Open Arms is talking about, like, I know I messed up. Like, I'm here if you ever do want to come back. I apologize, blah, 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 blah. Where is it?
Do I remember that
And she
song?
says,
I
like,
remember- I
who
think
needs self-esteem anyways? I hate myself to make you stay. And saying like, okay, I know I messed up, I'm here, but then like the next song goes to fuck man, you messed me up, you did everything in your power to make me feel like a terrible person, and you don't deserve me. And I'm just kind of like, what? How do you go from like I apologize, I'm sorry, to like, you know what, fuck this, you're a bitch type stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I guess when you told me Ali said this is like a hot girl summer like album, that makes more sense now. Hearing that, listening to these songs, but I just don't really know like what the vibe is for like this album, because when you put Harbor on, you can interpret it in many different ways. You can be like, oh, this is like beachy theme, but then when you listen to the lyrics, you can be like, oh, this is like pretty deep. But like, if you play a song, for example, like Gone Girl's talking about how she's like, you like the guy messed up, she's like out of there, like she doesn't want to waste her any time. And then you got Smoking My X Pack, which, oh hell, what the hell? The lyrics goes into I'm really not friendly. Hate that I need the numbers. I got your favorite rapper block. Text me back. I make no exceptions. Can we please get back together? And I'm like, what? Like, how do you? I just don't understand. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just talking about how, like, if you're like the SOS, like the title, it's talking about if you're stranded, you always have these like different conflicted emotions, which like I guess is a really good embodiment of like the album.
Yeah.
But just my opinion, I feel like you usually want to stick with like one message. I think like each of their songs individually are really good. Like each of their own songs, like I said, like you said, actually, Kill Bill is one of my favorites. Special, Gone Girl's pretty good too.
Did you like Snooze as much as I did?
I don't remember, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Like I said,
Let's go back
those
and
songs
listen
that we
to
played in the car, I was like, that's probably not the best.
Well, we
idea.
played Snooze here.
No, we played in the car.
No, Snooze was the first one that we were gonna play when we got back inside. When I brought out my speaker, and then we played it in here.
I think I was still.
You were snoozing, probably.
Probably. I need to re-listen to it, but like a lot of those songs are good. Like honestly, I don't think any of those songs are bad songs in my opinion. But like as an album, like as a whole, it just maybe because the title SOS like stands for like the mixed emotions and everything that I explained, I would say it fits well, but it just contradicts each other too much. Is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So because like you said, I said Harbor knows it's a contradiction. I don't know if SZA made this knowing if it's a contradiction.
Well, okay, so I would say though, honestly, to be fair, I think she does, which is why I'm not like super critical
That's what
on
I
that
was
part
thinking.
of it.
I was thinking
because
about
it's
that.
called SOS, and like there's parts in the lyric. I can't remember which song it was in specific, but she talks about like, okay, well, like Kill Bill, for instance, is a perfect example because she talks about like, I might kill my ex, and then like one of the other lyrics says, I still love him though.
Yeah.
So it's like she wants to kill this guy that brought her pain, but it's like, but I still love her though. Which
Yeah.
like it kind of hits home a little bit with the situation that I've been in. Where
But
it's
the
like,
that's fine. But then he goes to the next song saying, "Fuck me, so I don't let these memories pull in." Like, I'm just kind of like, what?
I mean, like I'm with you on it, but I don't. Just to be fair to like how much we love Harbor, and
That's what I'm saying.
It
like,
sends a different message about just kind of like, I know what I have to do, but I'll get to that.
yeah,
at some point.
I think it's just because the style of SZA, it's more like, because you're right, Harbor and SZA are very two different artists, obviously.
Yeah.
And SZA is more like up close, personal to your face, telling you how you feel. While Harbor is like, here's a note, you can interpret it however you want. That's kind of like how I see the comparison.
You said Harbor's like that?
Yeah, Harbor's like, here's a note, you can read it and interpret it however you
Yeah.
want. SZA's like, I'm gonna tell it to your face,
I could see that.
and like at the same time, I can give you a note. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they're both like both albums are contradictions, but I think they convey the contradictions differently, which makes it seem like, I guess, makes seem Harbor like not of much of a contradiction, while like SZA is like, it seems like an apparent contradiction, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because I feel like I don't want to talk about Harbor too much because like
Yeah.
obviously we want to focus on SZA, but like the more that we thought about Harbor, the more we're like, whoa,
Yeah.
because they're sending kind of like subliminal like,
yeah,
this is what you should think about, but SZA is just kind of like a, you know what, I'm not going to talk to you, but at the same time, like, hit me up,
yeah,
if you're free, kind of thing. Which, I mean, like, but honestly, too, you could think about it in the standpoint of like, because we hear a lot more at least speaking for me, I hear a lot more songs about like Charlie Puth, for instance. Like, I don't think I talked about this when we were talking about Harbor or whatever, but like Charlie Puth isn't somebody that I would have listened to normally, but because of how he promoted his album on TikTok and everything, I listened to the whole album, and that's like a guy's perspective on like I Don't Think I Like Her is like one of my favorite songs on that album, and just talks about like I don't like her anymore. Girls are all the same. All they want to do is break my heart and everything. And this is kind of like, I guess, the female side of it, as to like maybe she's saying that's just hard. Like, I like this guy. I like how he makes me feel, so to speak. I'm not gonna get as dirty with it, but yeah, she likes that. But it's also like men are frustrating. Fuck men. But then it goes back to kind of like, but also at the same time, like,
I need you in my life.
yeah.
type thing. Yeah.
So like, I think that's actually kind of cool that it kind of like goes back. Like, yeah, it is kind of weird, like you talking about in the lyrics, which is like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I look at it from the standpoint of like, SOS, like, help me.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
That's
so like
what I was
caught up
thinking,
with
yeah.
like, I'm in my head so much now thinking
That's what I
about
was
you.
thinking. That's why I say it fits the album name and fits the album
Yeah.
like pretty good.
Not
in
to
my
mention
opinion.
too, because we haven't brought this up yet. The album art is like really good too.
Yeah, her was she's sitting on something.
It's like
in the
she's on like
water,
a
right?
long diving board looking thing, like in the
Yeah.
middle of the ocean, which I think is a really cool album art. But yeah, so
Yeah, the album overall, like as a collective, is good. It just kind of, I don't know. Like I feel like it fits the title name, but like just personally, my preference is like I rather have like one message because I think honestly the reason why Ali likes this album pretty much pretty well is because the album kind of is just like everywhere, and so is
I guess it does fit her.
that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. And like Ali's brain is just everywhere anyway. So then like
Which we don't want to speak too much about. 'Cause
I
you
know.
guys will figure it out.
well yeah, I know. But like because they're both just like aligned, like they're very similar.
Yeah.
I think that's why it like helps her because me and you look at like I looked at you a couple times during the song. I'm just like, what did she just say? And like I'm just like I'm so confused.
What was the one lyric? It was like, I'm ovulating, or like I'm not ovulating. I need you to fuck me. And I was like, yo.
Hold on, let me find that.
We both looked at each other like, what did she just say?
That was what song? I think that was in this song. It was. Oh my gosh, that song lyric got me like, what the fuck?
Thomas literally looked over at me. I was like, bro, I don't know either.
I
But-
think it was. Hold on.
It was one of the ones that we were here for.
Yeah. I know
Obviously, it wasn't in the car.
that.
Was it smoking on my X pack?
No, I just looked at that. I think it was shirt then.
Maybe. Oh, I think it was shirt.
No, it's not shirt.
Far? Maybe.
No, I just looked at far.
Okay. Well, there was one lyric that said something like that, and I was like, oh, okay. Well,
It was something like, oh, I saw earlier. It was like, I want you to rough me hard because I'm ovulating or something.
yeah, something along those lines. But anyway, we don't need to spend too much time looking for it. But
Yeah, probably not.
yeah. So, did you have anything else? For...
No, that's pretty much it. Granted, I also was like not paying attention to the first like few songs because, like I said, I was in the car and I was like, that's not the best idea, but okay. But yeah, I would give this song like another listen again. Just
album, you mean?
I meant album. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, give it like another listen, just to like fully divert or like indulge myself in the album a little bit more.
Honestly, like it's not a bad if I'm just kind of trying to deviate from what I normally listen to in the car or like on a long trip, whatever. I would play this album just kind of like on shuffle.
Yeah, I'll play it.
Or like at a party, maybe just like in the background, just kind of
See,
like have
maybe
some.
yeah, that I'll do. It just depends on like how you have to shuffle it because I feel like
There are some songs that aren't in for like that kind of.
well, I don't know if
setting,
you
but-
noticed. Well, I don't know if this is true or not, but like when we were listening to songs in here and like in my room, the songs alternated between like I hate you, I love you, I hate you, I love you. I don't know if you noticed that, but like
Yeah.
it like alternated. That's why I was like I'm just very confused because I don't know. Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying. If you played it in like a party or something like alternating like that, I
More
feel
like a kickback, maybe not really like a
Yeah,
party. Like if you're just trying to chill out.
yeah, I would just kind of be like, I'm very confused. But I feel like if you shuffled it and it's just like plays just randomly, like if you have songs like I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, but I love you, and then I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm like that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I want you to go first then.
Are we doing it out of 10 or like 5 stars?
10.
10.
Yeah. I feel like 5's too narrow. I like 10 better.
Okay, so I'd say out of like 10. See, this is kind of hard because like, I'll give it like Oh, Allie's gonna hate me. I'm gonna give it like a 6 or 7 between there.
Okay.
Just because it's a good album and like it fits pretty well for like the title. It's just not my style of music that I listen to that often. Not saying like I won't listen to it because I will, but I'm not gonna listen to it, like if I open my phone and like I'm gonna listen to music, that's not the first thing I'm gonna play.
Yeah.
Which is like fine because I need to warm up to some like I don't listen to like other strays of music that often. It takes me a while to listen to like new artists. But I need to like maybe listen to a little bit more so it can grow on me. And talking about like the contradiction, because it's just weird to me to hear an album that just contradicts itself back and forth like literally every other song. So I think I just need to get used to that kind of style because most of the artists that I listen to just has like a straight message of like I love this person, I dropped everything for them and I'm now broken, blah 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 type of stuff. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. Like 6 or 7 between there, maybe like 6.5.
So I'm not like super far off. I rate it just a little bit higher because I actually like SZA. Like I'm not saying that you don't,
Well, I don't listen to
or like
SZA.
I've heard her more, or like
Yeah,
I've
I
been
haven't
subjected to her
heard her that
more.
much, yeah.
I'd probably go like 7.5 or an 8 maybe.
Okay.
I think the only thing really like lowest I'd go probably is like 7. So it's probably between like the 7 and 8 range.
Okay.
The only thing really for me that's kind of like keeping it back a little bit is kind of the repetitiveness here and there with kind of like the melody every so often, which I like the melody, but I kind of wish maybe like of the 23 there were more like
A good like more of a mix of each.
Was it like F2F and like the more like rock or rap should like go to
Yeah.
the rock was kind of a lot more different, I think, because she can rap, but what am I trying to say? But yeah, so the repetitiveness and kind of like the similarity between like a lot of the songs, I think maybe brings it down a little bit for me. And then just like the features, like she's good just standalone by herself, which like the songs in my top 3 were just her. But I kind of wish the features, like, and not every feature is gonna land, but out of 4, only one of them really that I thought was like worth it. So. But yeah, so that's what would bring it down for me a little bit. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
I'd listen to it again. Maybe we can do one day where we re-listen an album and give like we would give it more time to listen to. Like let's say we like listen to it for like a week or something.
Yeah.
And we can like do a comeback of a part 2. Like, oh, you know what? We gave it a little bit like a little bit longer, more time to like listen to it because we listened to it within like probably like within an hour and a half about before recording.
See, for me, I feel like my rating of it probably won't change because I feel like between 7 and 8 for me is like probably fair.
I feel like
I wouldn't go lower, and I don't think anything in my mind would change it to make me be like, you know what, this song is like borderline masterpiece.
Yeah, I think I
or
agree.
album rather.
I don't know. Well, I think I have to listen because like once again, I don't remember like the first 5.
I mean, if
songs.
we're with Ali again in some sort of like car or something, it'll probably get tossed on. But I don't mind. So
she probably will hear this and like, this is profanity. I'm gonna kill you, Thomas. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. I'm definitely gonna die tomorrow.
So, but yeah, definitely kind of different than what we normally listen to, which is why I like these segments anyway, because we're gonna be watching and listening to stuff that is kind of like out of the ordinary. Wait though till we get to like a rock and roll album or something like that, where each song average is like 7 minutes long. So,
do they actually?
Bro, Greta Van Fleet songs are like minimum like 5 minutes. And they range from like 5 to like 8 minutes.
Do you know what's that band called? The band that plays Float. Do you know that song?
Harbor.
No, other Float.
Float.
Yeah.
No.
Look it up. It's by something Mouse. I can't remember.
Isn't that like somebody that you told me about one
Yes,
time?
but I can't remember the name right now.
Let's see.
Oh, I don't know why it's thinking of Mickey Mouse, but
Modest Mouse?
yes, Modest Mouse. So like that band. So Float. How long is that song? It's like 3 minutes,
I
right?
have no idea.
Just click it or something.
3:35 it looks like.
So that's their shortest song ever.
Yeah.
Their average songs, because I was at a music festival and I saw them live, one of their songs was like 9 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I was like, golly. I was like, are they considered rock? I'm guessing since
Modest Man, I have no idea.
Okay. Because I remember hearing them, and I turned to one of my friends. I was like, golly, these songs are like 6-7 minutes long. And I'm only here to listen to the song Float because, in my opinion, they're just like a one-hit band. I don't know any other songs by them except Float.
Yeah, they're a rock band.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, golly, these songs are so long.
Mm-hmm.
So that just reminded me of that. I feel like we would enjoy going to like a music festival.
If this is one of our like favorite segments and it starts getting a lot more like attention, honestly, like I would totally be down. Just kind of go like country festivals, rock and roll, rap, stuff like
I said
just a
music
bunch
festivals. I didn't say like country festivals.
Well, yeah. Well, wait for a country album to get tossed on here.
Oh.
I'll be fine because I've actually started to like that more. But you'll just be sitting here like, if you want to talk about consistency, whiskey in my truck, baby. So
Give me my ex in my truck.
So that'll be interesting. But yeah, as to not make this like super long, we can go ahead and cut it here. But yeah, you said like a 6 or a 7.
Like a 6.5. I'd go in the middle.
All right, I'd lean more to like 7.5, 8, or something like that. So I think
Mine's more towards like the 6.5.
pretty fair ratings, yeah. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I think we both did.
Yeah.
And then next week it'll be a movie, so we'll have to decide what movie to watch.
I'm excited for the next 2 albums. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, so long as like more doesn't get tossed in, but every week.
Well, how do
obviously.
they toss it in if you post on the
Well,
story?
like the more that people hear about this, like because Christina reached out to me and she was like, "Hey, you should listen to these songs." It wasn't an album, but
I think you should like post on Instagram, so then like they can just comment instead of like post on.
Yeah, I could do that.
story. Yeah.
Because I didn't make I don't know if you saw, I didn't make a post for last week's movie and music.
No, I didn't.
Or music movies. So
I just saw you post on the story, and I'm like, that expires, so I feel like you should make a post, so then people can.
yeah,
just,
I'll
like, look
probably
back at-
tomorrow. I'll probably make a post talking about this, but like I said, before we get too lengthy in how long this is, yeah, overall pretty good. So can't wait for next week. And Allie's episode comes out on Wednesdays, so everybody stay tuned for that. But other than that, yeah, we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Thanks.